G'day guys, how you going? Paul again here. I've got a new toy. It's called an Atomos Ninja 5. What could it be? Looks like a little TV, doesn't it? Let's have a look. So the Atomos Ninja 5. Yep, it is a little screen, but it's a whole lot more as well, and I'll tell you all about it. We won't go into too much detail. There'll be subsequent videos. I'll show you what I can get out of this and how I use it and all that sort of stuff. So this is just really going over the features and what I hope to get out of it. So yeah, as I said, it is a little screen, but it's a whole lot more as well. Let's just talk about the screen features as a starters. So yeah, this can just connect to your hot shoe. I've just got a little mini rig adapter here, but you could mount it to all sorts of kits, I guess. And at the very basic, it is just a secondary screen. It's a larger screen. It's 5-inch. I believe the 5 in Atomos Ninja 5 stands for 5-inch. And yeah, it gives you all sorts of benefits, that larger screen. As well as the larger size, there are all sorts of really useful features it has, like focus peaking, different sort of histograms to show you your exposure levels, showing you if your highlights are blown out and all sorts of things. You can zoom in to check critical focus. So yeah, it's just a really handy screen. Basically, all our cameras these days, or a lot of them, they do have this HDMI out. See, I've got a fairly long HDMI cable. I've ordered a shorter one. This one's a bit of a pain. It's just what they had locally nearby. So yeah, it'll basically go from your HDMI out on your camera to your HDMI in on the Ninja. The other benefit is I can actually turn the screen around, and that can actually be a selfie sort of screen as well. So yeah, normally when I'm doing my videos from now on, now I've got this, I'll actually put this on the camera that you're looking at me through, which happens to be my Z7, and I'll have it facing me. Not because I'm very vain, don't worry about that. I can just see, if I'm framed well in the frame, composed. I can just keep an eye on, the exposure. I've mucked up a few videos you might have noticed before, just too much headroom or a little bit overexposed, and at least I'll be able to monitor the picture as I'm filming and having a bit of a chat. So yeah, lots of advantages just with the screen. So, but yeah, so what's this whole lot more I mentioned? Well, it records video as well, and not only that, it records much better than the internal recording on most cameras. So yeah, and that's why we'd use it basically, for that extra quality. So yeah, different cameras do it differently, but basically while we're recording, and we're talking about video now, the Z7's a bit more specialising at video, of course, but the D500 does some really cool video. Yeah, we can record to this external recorder. And we actually use hard drives to record. This is just an SSD drive. It just clips on the back here, just like what you'd get in a computer or a laptop. The bonuses of these is, basically, they might seem a bit expensive. You could pay a couple $100 for one, or more potentially if you're getting a quite large capacity one. But if you go by dollar per gigabyte, these are heaps cheaper than specialised high speed internal memory cards like XQD cards and everything, that are capable of recording high quality video. So that's quite an advantage. Actually, while I'm looking at the back of this, a hard drive clips on the back, and it also takes these Sony batteries that clip on the back. You can get the really cheap third-party ones on eBay. These are a very common battery. If you want a bit more capacity, that's a bit heavier. But the beauty is you can use it out in the field. You don't need to be powered, connected to mains and all that sort of stuff, which would be a pain. We'll quickly go over the rest later, the different ports and that sort of stuff. So yeah, why record externally? Well, just quickly, the D500 is probably not a better example, the Z7 is a better example. But when you record internally, you are limited by the internal features of the camera, obviously, the speed of the bus in the camera, the memory card that you're using. Yeah, these cameras, for example, will only record 8-bit video internally. Won't get too technical in this video, but that's the range of colors it can capture basically. When we record externally, we can record 10-bit on the Z7, still 8-bit on this one, but we can also record 422 in the chroma. So yeah, we can get better bit depth with the Z7, or we get the more chroma depth. The other advantage is we can record in a lot higher bit rate. I think this internally records 120 megabits a second or 140. I read different things online. Same with the Z7. Externally, we're recording like 800 megabits a second according to Windows, what it reports on the files that it produces. So yeah, really good quality video. Takes up a lot more space. So when I say about SSD drives being cheaper per gigabyte, the only problem with that is you're using more gigabytes as well. So one thing I'm actually getting really keen on is video. So yeah, that's the reason I bought this, I guess. Yeah, often I'm going out to my favourite haunts, doing wildlife photography. I find myself shooting video more than photography these days. Well, don't worry, I'm still a really keen photographer, but I'm really enjoying the video side of things. With this Nikon D500, for example, when you read reviews about the video side of it, it's the reviews aren't real good. They're sort of positive that Nikon had a bit of a crack at the video, but they sort of leave it there, and it's got a lot to be desired. And one of the features, or the negatives often talked about with video, the D500, is when you shoot in UHD or 4K, commonly known as, it has a 2.25 crop. As you know, the D500, it's normally got a 1.5 crop, the DX, it is a DX camera, it's a crop sensor camera. But when it shoots 4K video, you get that 2.25 crop. So basically what that means, this is a 500mm lens, 2.25, well 2 is 1000mm, another 125mm if my maths is right, so this ends up being equivalent to 1125mm lens. And a lot of the reviews on the D500, because of that 2.25 crop, they're quite negative, because basically filmmakers are, we're going to need wider glass to get our scene in and all this sort of stuff. None of the reviews seem to take into account wildlife filmmakers. I reckon that's great. So yeah, stay tuned. I'm going to be really keen to test this extreme crop this does. What's a full moon video going to look like, or getting really close to that wildlife. So yeah, stay tuned for that. That's going to be really interesting. By the way, this has got the 1.4 by teleconverter on it at the moment. So yeah, this becomes a 700mm lens with a teleconverter, well, equivalent field of view. With that 2.25 crop, it becomes a 1575mm f8. That's insane. Just reminder, this is just for video I'm talking. You still get the normal 1.5 crop shooting stills, but yeah, for high def video, ultra high def video, a 1575mm lens at f8, insane. So yeah, stay tuned, subscribe. I'm going to try out some moon videography, and yeah, some extreme wildlife, so that'll be really interesting. With the Nikon Z7, again, when you read reviews, people are quite excited about the video features of the Z7. One slight negative is that in normal full frame video, it does this vertical line skipping. It's just the way that it uses the whole sensor and gets it down to that that 4K frame. I don't know the technicalities, I don't need to, but yeah, it's not as good as a Z6, for example. You get this vertical line skipping. I haven't really noticed it, to be honest, but apparently it can be noticeable in some scenes. But in crop mode on the Z7, you're using the full sensor, and you're not doing that line skipping. So it's oversampled full sensor stuff going into that 4K video, and it's great quality. Again, the reviewers say, oh well, that's only so handy because we're going to need wider glass to fit the scene in. And but if you're not a normal filmmaker like me, if you're more into the wildlife, that's fantastic. So I'd much rather use crop mode in a lot of situations with wildlife. Not always, but often, getting close to your subject is one of the big challenges. So again, this 500mm lens, let's keep it simple. We won't worry about the teleconverter. The 500mm lens on the Z7 in crop mode is a 750mm. You just get the 1.5 times crop, DX mode. So yeah, you've got a 750 f5.6 there. I've got a 400 2.8 lens, so on that it's a 600 2.8, videoing ultra high def. How cool is that? So yeah, pretty exciting stuff, this video. I'm doing more and more video of my wildlife, not only wildlife, but storm chasing and time lapses and landscapes in general. So yeah, stay tuned if you're interested in video. But But as I say, you know, I'm still really keen on the stills. On the subject of stills, another advantage of this Atomos Ninja 5 and all these external recorders is actually in photography mode, stills mode, I can actually route the actual, what I see in the viewfinder to the Atomos Ninja. Now strictly speaking, it doesn't work that well with the D500 because you've got to turn on live view before you get the HDMI out feed happening. And I don't take photos in live view, especially of wildlife that's moving. It's just too hard. So yeah, I might do a few samples of that, but mainly, you know, with the mirrorless cameras, and what I love about the Z7 is that I can actually use the viewfinder because it's an electronic viewfinder, and what I see, you'll see. So yeah, you'll see all my settings, see me adjust settings, and it'll just help me to really show people how I get me photos, what I'm seeing in the viewfinder, you know, whether I'm tracking a bird in flight or, you know, changing settings on the fly. You know, even going through menus and changing settings, I'll be able to record that to the Ninja 2 and put that in my videos. So that's pretty exciting stuff too. Alright guys, so yeah, just a quick video on my new little toy and just basically, you know, what are the advantages and why I've got it. I'll certainly be going into more depth about you know, shooting video with it, what results I get with it, you know, comparing that 10-bit video to the, you know, just normal internal recordings, and even the external 8-bit video of the D500 at that extreme 2.25 crop. Got a supermoon coming up. I think it's March the 10th, so it's only a week and a bit away. So yeah, we're going to try and get some really amazing footage and photography, you know, both stills and video. Yeah, so that'll be really cool too. In closing, we'll just quickly go over this thing again. So yeah, as I said, you've got the battery slot there. You can actually get a power lead if you're just using it in the studio mainly. You slide SSD drives. On the Atomos website, you know, they list the SSD drives that work with it. I've tried a few different random ones and they all seem to work. But yeah, you got the HDMI in, so from the camera into that, you've actually got a HDMI out too, so you could daisy chain this in theory, you know, to another monitor or something, I guess, if you're you know, if you're in the studio or something. It's all a touch panel display, and yeah, as I said, you know, you get some really cool features here. You got the focus peaking, you can check your focus. Yeah, you got zebra striping to check highlights if they're blown out. There's all sorts of things, you know, different sorts of fancy video histograms, just to see how your exposure is going. There's fancy things we won't go into today, like shooting in log format, which is required for 10-bit to get the most out of it. And yeah, it requires a bit more post-processing on the computer with the footage, but yeah, you do get that, you know, a lot of extra quality as well. Alright guys, so that's just a quick overview of the Ninja 5, what it's all about, why I got it. Stay tuned for some more information and actually using it in action, and yeah, check out the results I get with it. So yeah, please subscribe, hit that little bell, and yeah, look forward to showing you how I go with this. Cheers, catch you next time.